So I know that the majority of the content that I make revolves around stuff of an older fare. I think the newest computer I've covered on my channel in depth is, maybe from about like 9, 10 years ago. But today I thought we'd cover something a little bit different. I want to go over the computer that has been serving me for the past year. So, what is this computer? Some or most of you probably already know this computer is the Lenovo ThinkPad P53. And it's really just your typical ThinkPad. It's it's really solidly built. It served me well for basically everything I've thrown at it. And essentially what I want this video to be is just an overview of this computer. And then, just wrap up with my thoughts. So yeah, let's get started with the ports. So on the right side we have a headset jack, a single USB-C port, USB Type-C, I think 3.1, USB 3.1 Type-C. I know there are some like weird naming conventions now, but I know this is USB 3.1 Type-C or USB Type-C 3.1. SIM card slot with a blanking plate because I do not use SIM cards. On the back, there's an Ethernet jack, 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and then the power jack. And on the left side, there's an HDMI port, 2 USB 3.1 Type A ports, and an SD card slot, as well as a smart card slot with a blanking plate, because again, I don't have, I didn't get this with the smart card option. On the bottom, you see that this is basically where the access panel is. Anything that you want to replace will be replaceable from the bottom, and that includes the hard drive, the SSDs, anything like that. And you can also see that this is where the primary air intake is. And the white stuff on each of these is lots and lots of dust. When I'm feeling brave enough, I really should get in here and clean it out. But anyway, yeah, that's the main system overview. Now let's take a look at the specs of the system. So, here it is. I just have it running Wallpaper Engine as a way to demo its abilities. But, yeah, here's the laptop opened up. Looking down at the keyboard, you can see you have your standard Lenovo ThinkPad 6-row keyboard. Yeah, 6-row keyboard, track point, mouse buttons, trackpad, which I've actually disabled the trackpad because that's what I do on all of my machines. I don't like the trackpad. I don't like using the trackpad when I have the track point available, so I don't use it. But yeah, and this is a 15-inch computer, so it has the numpad, something that was introduced with the computers like the T540, the W540. But yeah, it's overall really ThinkPad-like in design. It retains a lot of the same features that ThinkPad users really like. As for the system specs themselves, it has an Intel Core i7 9750H processor, which has a base clock of 2.6 gigahertz. It has 32 gigabytes of RAM, an NVIDIA Quadro T2000 graphics card with 4 gigabytes of dedicated video memory, and it has 1920 by 1080 or otherwise full HD IPS display, which looks marvelous. I have to say this is one of the best displays I've ever seen. And this was available in the touch option. I did not get the touch option. I did, however, upgrade from the base 300 nit display to the 500 nit display, just to have that extra couple hundred nits of brightness. And this was a BTO computer that I did a build to order model, so that's how I was able to get all of these, like all of this custom specification. And actually, I also had them put in two 512 gigabyte M.2 SSDs in RAID 1 configuration, and a 1 terabyte hard drive, mechanical hard drive, as sort of a data drive. But so, yeah, that's basically the system specs. And I'm not sure how much detail you can discern, because camera displays are awful, and all I really have is my camera display. But if you compare this to my T530 that is sitting right next to it, I think you can see that as much as has changed has also stayed the same. So like the T530 is from like 2012 and this is from 2019. 7 years of difference, and while there are some things that have been removed since the T530, like the lid latch, the Think Light, and dedicated hotkeys for volume and microphone mute, a lot of things have also stayed the same. For instance, just the general design is like overall pretty familiar. There's still Lenovo has still really kept the same basic design for a long time now, and actually my T42P, which is right here, could be considered to be a long, like sort of a distant cousin of sorts to the P53, because this is a P variation, and as far as I know, the P suffix on T series ThinkPads, at least at the time the T42P was a thing, meant that they were more suited to, like, they were closer to mobile workstations and desktop replacement machines than, just standard business class laptops like, say, a normal T42 would be. But yeah. And, yeah, so I've had this for about a year. Sorry, this has been a bit of a rambly video. But I've had this for about a year. I have really enjoyed it. It is such a great machine. My one complaint would be with the cooling system. Air intakes are on the bottom of the machine, which makes it absolutely terrible for using anywhere except on a hard surface, because, and even hard surfaces aren't all that good if the hard surface is dusty. Like, you saw how much dust it collected in the fan grates. But, yeah, that's really my only complaint. I have had a few, like, driver issues and stuff, but all of those I really chalk up to Windows being Windows, because I don't want to start an OS war, but I'll be completely honest, my experience with Windows driver management has been less than ideal ever since I had my first T42P. I've had issues with drivers. I remember specifically one time a driver update on my T42P. Not T42P, I just showed my first T42P I had back, like 10 years ago or something. I had a graphics driver update that basically made it so that the system wouldn't display video, and I had to boot into safe mode to, roll back the driver update. So Windows drivers have always been like shaky for me. I've never had extreme luck with them, and that's basically what you would need with Windows driver management. It's just luck. Like with this one, the graphics driver broke again due to driver update, and I needed to well, first I didn't know what was wrong, so I did standard troubleshooting techniques. Nothing really showed me what was wrong because my computer locked up and blue screened. And then I realized while looking at Task Manager one day, because I like to keep Task Manager open just to keep tabs on system resource management, and I saw that my Quadro card was missing, and it only had the integrated graphics, which I've since disabled the integrated graphics for reasons. That's the other thing. Windows doesn't necessarily handle dual card systems all that well. But anyway, I digress. So, yeah. I found that my Quadro card was missing from Task Manager, and, normally Task Manager will show, like, the different graphics cards you have and their utilization and stuff. So I wanted to check in Device Manager, and the driver broke, and it was just identifying as a basic Windows display adapter. So I basically spent an hour trying to figure out how to install drivers for my Quadro card in this machine. Windows wouldn't ever let me actually install it, but then, like, as soon as I was about to just, like, brute force and point it to the INF files manually, it just installed itself. To this day, I'm really confused about that. But, for me, the moral of the story is Windows driver management isn't that good. So, yeah. And I think the graphics driver had been having issues for a while because, it was all... This is a really weird issue, but I think the graphics driver was also causing random internet drops for some reason. But, yeah, that's all Windows and not the computer itself, because the computer itself is run basically flawlessly, other than those times. If you've viewed other videos on my channel, you've probably seen me do things like that time I ran 10 Windows 7 VMs concurrently on this machine, actually, and it handled it like a pro. Also, the various times where I've exported 1080p video on various machines that are way underqualified, like the time I did on my iBook. But so yeah. I guess this is just a long-winded way of saying I really like this machine. I'm so glad I got it for school, because it has served me really well, and just really happy I was able to, just be able to use this machine. I hope it serves me well for at least another 10 years, hopefully more. But yeah, so this has more been a rambling commentary video than anything else, but thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day.